She's ambitious, she's independent, she runs her own business, flies first class, posts motivational quotes between workout selfies. She doesn't need a man, she's got goals, followers, and a 5-year plan. She's loud about her boundaries, quick to cut off anything toxic, and she's not waiting to be saved, she saves herself. She's the modern ideal, the empowered woman, the boss babe. Sounds impressive, right? So why is she so often alone? Why is it that men date her but rarely stay? Why do strong men pull away? Why do emotionally available men suddenly lose interest? Why do high-value men keep choosing someone else? Here's the truth. Men don't want boss babes, not the ones rooted in masculine energy, not the ones competing, controlling, or constantly proving they don't need anyone, not the ones who treat relationships like a boardroom negotiation. Because men don't want to date a CEO. They want to feel needed. They want to lead, protect, provide, and feel like their presence matters. And if a woman is already doing all of that on her own and broadcasting it constantly, there's no space left for the masculine to breathe. Let's pause and ask something deeper. What is the boss babe archetype really built on? Is it strength? Or is it fear wearing a power suit? Because underneath the branding and confidence, what we often see is a deep wound. I don't trust anyone to take care of me. I have to be everything or I'll be nothing. If I soften, I'll be hurt again. So instead of vulnerability, we get control. Instead of intimacy, we get dominance. Instead of polarity, we get resistance. The boss babe isn't a bad person, she's a symptom, a product of a culture that told women that to be valuable, they had to become men. That femininity is weakness, that nurturing is regressive, that to be powerful you must compete with masculinity instead of complementing it. And it's not working, because while the boss babe is winning at business, she's often losing at love. Now let's go deeper into why. Men and women are wired for polarity. Masculine and feminine energy aren't just poetic ideas, they're biological, psychological, spiritual forces. Masculine energy seeks freedom, purpose, direction. Feminine energy seeks connection, radiance, flow. The more one partner leans into their core essence, the more magnetic the attraction becomes. But when both partners are in their masculine, competing, leading, controlling, polarity collapses. There's no current, no chemistry, no spark. So a woman in her hardened masculine doesn't inspire a man's desire. She triggers his resistance. He doesn't want to fight for the throne. He wants to build a kingdom with someone who trusts his leadership. Now let's be clear, this isn't about submission, it's about harmony. A woman in her feminine doesn't need to be weak. She needs to be receptive, open, radiant, vulnerable in her strength, because that's what awakens a man's deepest instincts. That's what makes him want to step up, to provide, to lead with honor, to protect with intention. But when he feels like she's already the man in the relationship, he checks out. Not because he's intimidated, but because there's no room for his masculine energy to exist. So while the boss babe may attract attention, she rarely attracts devotion, because attention is loud. Devotion is quiet, but it's lasting. And it doesn't come from impressing a man with accomplishments. It comes from inspiring him through essence. Now ask yourself, do you want to win at love? Or do you want to connect? Because if it's about winning, controlling, and being the dominant energy, just know most high-value men will eventually walk away. Not because you're too strong, but because you've made strength your only currency. Men don't want a peer in competition. They want a partner in alignment. They don't need another soldier. They need a safe space to put down their armor. So if you're the kind of woman who's always on, always calculating, always leading, ask yourself, What part of you feels unsafe resting in your feminine? Is it because no man ever earned your trust? Because you were told softness is weakness? Because the only love you've ever known required self-protection? That's real. But it's not truth, it's trauma. And trauma isn't meant to be a personality, it's meant to be healed. Now let's bring in something even deeper, the spiritual layer. In the book of Genesis, God created man and woman to complement one another, not to compete, not to swap roles, not to fight for power. It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. Genesis 2:18. Now don't get triggered by the word helper. It's not about hierarchy. It's about balance. It's about design. The masculine builds, the feminine beautifies, the masculine leads, the feminine nurtures, the masculine penetrates, the feminine receives. When this divine dance is honored, love flourishes. When it's reversed or rejected, chaos follows. You want proof? Look at modern dating. Look at divorce rates. Look at the confusion, the resentment, the loneliness. We told women to act like men. We told men to become passive. We confused equality with sameness. And now we're all wondering why we can't connect anymore. Let's be honest. The boss babe doesn't need to disappear. She needs to rebalance. She can still build her empire. She can still own her power. But she must learn how to put the crown down when she comes home. Because a relationship isn't a company. It's not about who's in charge. It's about who's in sync. And that means learning to trust again, to soften, to release the constant tension of needing to control everything, to realize that true power isn't in dominance, it's in discernment, in knowing when to lead and when to let go. The feminine isn't weak, it's magnetic, it's intuitive, it's the most powerful force on earth when it's honored, not hidden. And if you're a woman who's tired of doing everything alone, of always leading, always fighting, always proving, maybe it's not because love doesn't exist. Maybe it's because you've been conditioned to lead with armor. Take it off. Let yourself be seen, not as a brand, not as a title, not as a boss, but as a woman. And you'll be amazed at how quickly the right kind of man steps forward. Because masculine men don't want to compete with you. They want to cherish you, but they can't cherish what they can't feel. And they can't feel you behind a wall of independence, control, and constant motion. Stillness, openness, receptivity, that's what calls him in. So let's close this with a simple truth. You don't need to stop being strong. You just need to remember your softness is strength too. And when you integrate the two, you stop chasing attention and you start attracting love. If this spoke to something deeper in you, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're here to question everything, especially the lies we've been told about love, power, and polarity.